All right, everybody, welcome in. It's a brand new TSFS. I am your host, Sarah. Thank you so much for listening. I mean, I say it till I'm blue in the face, but I'm live on TikTok, so I'll say it again. I do a daily pop culture podcast. Thank you for being here. 7 days a week, we put out content here at the Sarah Fraser Show. And it's because I am obsessed with reality television. I need a life. I don't know what to tell you. People that put themselves on TV, they want to be gossiped about. And so here I am. I'm happy to gossip about them. So hopefully you enjoy it. Look, today we're doing a special episode. We're covering two topics. If you're a Sister Wives fan, you're in for a treat. Mykelti and Tony Padron, okay? Obviously, Mykelti is Christine and Kody Brown's daughter. They went on the popular YouTube show Pop Psych with David and Allison. It was a great interview. I thought they revealed a lot. I thought it was very telling of maybe where the show is, where Kody, Robyn are, where maybe the future of the show is headed. It was so good. So we're going to break down exactly what happened in this interview. A lot of you sent me that. Also, I have to shout out tonight is a whole new episode of Special Forces. And Diane, thanks to Diane, who sent me a preview of Kody Brown for Special Forces tonight, which is very interesting. We'll start with that, and then I'll get into the Pop Psych interview, what I liked about the Pop Psych interview, what I would have done differently. Anyhow, so Kody on Special Forces tonight. You know how you all know I can't stand Special Forces. I think it's the laziest show on television. It's so stupid. I can't even get over the fact that the entire show is taped over 10 days and these fuckers quit after like 4 hours. It's like, dude, you're there for like, I keep thinking it's like Survivor where it's like 40 days. They're going without limited food, all this stuff. They're like, they're on a set in Morocco for like 8 days. It drives me bonkers. But you kind of know every week on Special Forces who is going to be voted off and who is out because they put the fake, like they're in a terrorist training camp or whatever. They put the fake, like the sack over their head and they take them two doors down to the studio and they interview them. The Special Forces guys, grill them about some sort of psychological thing, which essentially is this, okay? You know who is going to be voted off Special Forces because 1 or 2 episodes before they are cut from Special Forces, they highlight them. So you get to know something about them personally, all right? We saw it with Chanel Iman, the model. She was out last week. Both the Deckers left. We didn't learn a ton about them, but you did learn about him, how he was a former NFL player, and he's really kind of lost his competitive drive, his for football. I would just say, look, dude, you've transitioned. Like you gave it your all for I don't know how many years you had to do football. Now you don't want to do it. We all get it. Anyhow, they made a huge deal about how he's lost his motivation. Jesse James Decker like babies him the whole time. Are you okay? Are you okay? Anyhow, whatever, they're gone. So you always know because they kidnap the person, they do a little confessional, and then like 1 or 2 episodes later, they're cut. Interestingly enough, on Special Forces, episode 7, which airs tonight, Kody Brown is highlighted. And they ran today the promo clip of him getting very emotional in the confessional. And in the confessional, he breaks down in tears. And the Special Forces guys ask him basically what kind of father and what kind of man he is. Okay? Let me get my notes. So Kody becomes in the hot seat on this week's episode of Special Forces. Kody admits that he should have been stronger in his relationships and with his kids. And then he breaks down and starts crying with the Special Forces guys. The Special Forces guys don't cry, but he does. And he says that, he really thought for a long time that he was a great father, a great husband. He thought that he had it all together. And the hardest part for him over the past couple of years, he admits in this confessional, is that taking ownership for it, that he hates the fact that he is blamed publicly and by his own family for the downfalls of the Brown family. He's resisted to take ownership of it. And the guys basically say it's so adolescent of you you failed at something, but it is so adolescent and juvenile of you to not take ownership of the fact that you failed. You failed as a dad in that moment. You failed as a husband, as a spouse. And they say the fault of it's basically your fault. And when you really own that, you'll actually do something about it. Okay. So that's kind of how it's like left. And essentially the special forces guys tell him, don't give up. Look, is this a motivational speech because Kody Brown is out this week's episode or next? Kind of seems like it. Or does Kody Brown win the whole thing because the guy is superhuman on special forces? It's like unreal. He's so jacked. Let's see. Okay, people aren't alive on my TikTok. So if you have a comment, oh man, he's a goner. Yeah, I think so too. Whoever they kidnap is like gone the next week. They do it every single week. The show is so predictable. It's so stupid. But anyway, there you go. So we'll see what happens this week. But I would say Kody Brown's numbers are limited unless the show, again, this is the first season that I've watched Special Forces. So maybe they switch it up and maybe they start kidnapping the people towards the end, like all of them. And they do like a psychological breakdown. I don't know. If you all watch Special Forces and other seasons, is it as predictable as we think it is, or do they mix it up? Those expired vitamins might kick in and give him a boost to win. Yeah. Other cast members of Special Forces have said that he shows up with a ton of supplements. Many of them expired, and Kody relies on his supplements. I love it. That's a good transition, by the way, to the Pop Psych interview that Mykelti and Tony did this week. That was so good. So you all sent it to me. I had to watch. I loved it. It was super revealing. So let's get into that. Pop Psych is a YouTube channel. David and Allison are the hosts, and they had on Mykelti and Tony. And then I believe they did 50 minutes on their YouTube, and then they switched over to Tony and Mykelti's Patreon. Now, I like Tony and Mykelti. I'm big fans. I like Tony personally. Maybe on their Patreon they addressed it, but I think Tony and Christine Brown Woolley have a very interesting dynamic. I don't think she actually particularly likes Tony. And so I'd be curious about that relationship because she always seems super annoyed by Tony. And fans either love or hate Tony. But I think Tony is unique. He's eclectic. He's odd. And I like Mykelti. I give Mykelti credit. More of the siblings should be leaning in and making money off this cash cow that is Sister Wives. Why they all don't have podcasts and YouTube channels and Patreons is beyond me because y'all are diehard fans that want more. But David and Allison did a great job of asking them questions. The interview starts like every interview starts, kind of takes a minute to warm up, but then they really, I thought, hit their stride when they got into the conversation around Meri. Mykelti, they start kind of talking about family dynamics, and they ask her specifically about Christine's book. And they go, how accurate was the memoir that Christine Brown just dropped? Is it true? Is that the whole story? Is there more? And basically they get onto the subject of our girl, Meri. And Mykelti says that she will never have a relationship with Meri Brown ever again because Meri was so mean and super strict when they were little. So Allison and David do a great job of kind of pushing back on this. And they're like, okay, but what specifically was it? Because nobody can seem to put their finger on, there was an incident between Leon and Mykelti at a store, and Mykelti was short 10 cents or some crap. And I don't know if Leon didn't give her the change or Leon got blamed for not having the money, whatever it was. Right. And so they're like, what? Why don't we hear the tea? What's really going on? And Mykelti essentially alludes to the fact that for legal reasons, they are not going to get into the mud about what Meri was really like when they were little. I thought this was very fascinating. Okay. I thought she was implying they weren't going to get into the minutia in Christine's book, and they weren't going to get into it on interviews because they wanted to pick and choose their words. They didn't want to miscategorize Meri. And I think they essentially allude to the fact that if they did, there would be like legal action. So I don't know. If you read between the lines, it's like, are you all implying that Meri has threatened to sue you? Was it not that bad? Now I will say this, fans in Pop Psych's comments are like, girl, so far, Mykelti, the info you've given us, okay, she was a strict mom. She wasn't very fun, but that's it. Like, that's all you've got. So I will say this, that part of the interview, I don't think did much to try to like get to the bottom of the, I guess, maybe dislike that they all have for Meri. Mykelti essentially says most of her siblings don't have a relationship with Meri, but a few do. She says that Meri was really known in their house for yelling at them and shaming them. Mykelti says her mom's book is a complete tell-all book and says, however, everybody has a take. And she says, it's my mom's side of the story. Kody's got a whole different side of the story, but this is my mom's side. It is a tell-all. And she says that, someday she hopes Janelle writes a book because she really feels like Janelle has a huge story to tell. So this is how they kind of get into the book, what they want to talk about. She also talks about Meri being a terrible cook when they were growing up. She says, and she actually calls, and Tony kind of shades Mykelti on the interview. She calls Meri a horrible mother. There ain't any love lost between Mykelti and Meri. Mykelti says that she screamed at Mykelti over sticking her tongue out one night when Meri was making all the kids dinner. They were all like in the kitchen and Meri was trying to get dinner ready for 18 kids. Hello, stressful enough. And the kids were sticking their tongue out and messing around. And she yelled at Mykelti, sent her off to her room for sticking out her tongue, and shamed her in front of the other kids. And that right there stuck with Mykelti. Mykelti says that's her only memory from the time that they lived in Wyoming. Okay, so obviously for Mykelti, this relationship was quite traumatic. Mykelti says she wants to write a book as well, but the emotional capacity it takes to really write a memoir, reliving memories, getting into the depth of it. She says right now as a mom and as a wife, she can't do it. She just says that emotionally, she doesn't have the bandwidth to write a book right now, but she really hopes Janelle writes a book because she says Janelle's got a gnarly story to tell. All right, let's go to our TikTok lines here and see what we have to do. Someone said, and withheld dinner from Mykelti too. She always said she was more lenient with her parenting than the other moms were. You're referring to Christine. Payton and others have said there was not physical abuse. Yes, I know there is other types of abuse. I listened to the whole thing as well and posted after all that. I still didn't know what was going on. It's ridiculous. Well, I will say this. Look, I'm just saying, from my opinion, the reason I thought what was revealing about this Pop Psych interview was the reason you're not going to get the nitty gritty of Mykelti and Meri's relationship is somehow somebody's threatened a lawsuit, I think, is what they were implying. That's why I think you're not going to get it. Okay. Then we move on. So we kind of get into a little bit of the tea right there with the Meri stuff, but eventually we move on. They have questions about the book, who should write a book next. We all said, okay, Janelle. Then Tony talks about Kody. And Tony says that Kody in real life is a fun guy, a cool dude. He says that, he's not a great dad, wasn't particularly a good husband at the end. But Tony says that, and I thought this was good perspective. Basically, Tony says to the hosts and to the audience, name a man who could have 4 wives and 18 kids and do it well. And I thought that was a good defense of Kody. Tony defends Kody and says, look, the guy ended up wanting this polygamy life. It was a huge disaster. It didn't work. It was a big failure. But how many guys could succeed at this? Not many. And essentially, Tony goes, look, he put his life in a dumb position. And Tony says that he has a hard time bashing his father-in-law, given everything that he's been through. Tony and Mykelti also state on the podcast, which I thought was great, or on the YouTube show, that essentially in addition to Kody having these 4 wives, 18 kids, he put himself on TV. He made his money that way. He opened himself up to the world criticizing him. And so here we are, things are even worse. And I think Mykelti is basically saying to all of us, and she pretty much says on the show, in a way, she sort of feels like Kody and Robyn should quit the show. That they've put themselves through hell emotionally on this. And she thinks that they should have ended the show. And Mykelti says she loves to see Kody on Special Forces. She thinks he's great on Special Forces. So I thought it was an interesting perspective from Tony's as being married in and how he feels about Kody. Fun dude, obviously has made some major mistakes and then heightened that by signing up for a TV show. And they also, again, we've heard this scenario, but I thought it was reiterated by these two very clearly. They also tell the host they don't really recognize the Kody Brown that you see on TV now. The Kody Brown you see on TV now, they feel is extra angry and really almost makes himself out to be the villain. They imply to take the heat off of Robyn, their kids that live in their immediate family, and that Kody is sort of the sacrificial lamb, acting like a dick, speaking off, just spouting off whatever he wants, which sounds like he does anyway. That's kind of his personality, but doing it extra in order to deflect from Robyn. That's really what they imply. Mykelti says that Kody's anger is a combination of his age, fame, and she revealed, I gotta watch my mouth because I want to interview Kody and Robyn. She says now Kody listens to public opinions, your opinion. So you all comment on my YouTube. Kody in the comments. Now he's not responding. But Mykelti and Tony in this interview implied that Kody Brown now reads the comments, has let fame get to his head, and has become more angry with age. He listens to opinions about what he looks like, they imply, the opinions about his kids, his divorces, and, he used to be really the life of the party. They essentially imply, and I don't even know why Kody and Robyn, I guess, are still doing this show, except maybe it's the money. I'm sure it's the money. It's the money. But they say like Kody and Robyn used to be so fun-loving. Like Robyn was so talkative. We'll get to that because they explain why you hear and see less and less from Robyn in this interview. But they say Kody used to be the life of the party and has now become angrier and angrier as life and fame continues to grow around him. Mykelti says that Kody reaches out to her all the time to have a relationship. So you all have wondered, like, does Kody reach out to any of his kids? What's the scoop? Well, Mykelti shared on the interview that Kody reaches out to her constantly, wants to see his grandchildren, wants to see Tony and Mykelti, but Mykelti questions him all the time about her siblings. Hey, like, are you going to see Savannah? Are you going to see our other siblings? And essentially, Kody says back to her that you aren't a package deal. I want to reach out to you. I'm trying to have a relationship with you. But he is like, look, I just want to have a relationship with you, essentially. So Mykelti's kind of in this weird position, she implies, where she does get reached out to all the time for Kody and Robyn and wants to have a relationship with them. But however, she tries to kind of hold Kody responsible for not having a relationship with his other children. And he doesn't like that. And he says, look, all of you guys aren't a package deal. I just want to try to have a relationship with you to begin with. So there you have it. Now, very, very interesting. Mykelti goes into her relationship with Robyn, where it's at. And again, no information is given. The rumor always was there was a falling out at Garrison's funeral. That wasn't directly asked. And so we don't get any clarification on anything with that, if that was true. But what we do get is Mykelti and Tony admitting that they moved to North Carolina because they were the go-betweens. They were the go-betweens between families, kids, Kody and Robyn, and they just got tired of essentially trying to navigate everybody's feelings. So they moved to North Carolina. And we also find out Mykelti, Robyn wants to have a relationship with Mykelti now, still. But Mykelti is the one pulling back because Mykelti isn't sure, was she targeted as a child by Robyn as kind of a way for Robyn to get into the family, to have somebody on her side and be manipulative, or was Robyn sincere? And I thought this is where the host did a great job of essentially saying, like, why would you even feel that way? Like, that's such a, did someone plant that in your head? Like, why? Because Mykelti says on this interview that she actually doesn't believe she'd physically be alive if it wasn't for Robyn. And she calls Robyn a good mother on this interview. She says Robyn is a really good mother. And Mykelti was in such a bad place emotionally when Robyn came into the family, and the first couple of years Robyn was there. If it wasn't for Robyn, she's not sure she would be alive. Dang. So the hosts are like, okay, one way or the other, Robyn saved you. Like, Robyn really helped you. Why would you feel that that was manipulative? So Mykelti says, oh, it's so interesting you say that because Tony says the same thing to me. Like, why do I feel this way? So Mykelti's trying to figure through her feelings because a lot of it sounds like the other siblings are projecting their dislike of Robyn onto Mykelti. And so therefore it confuses Mykelti. Okay. We talked about how they're both Tony and Mykelti love Kody on Special Forces. They think Cody's amazing on Special Forces. They're so impressed at how well he's done. And the hosts ask them point blank, is Kody on roids? and Mykelti and Tony go, well, he's not on roids, but they say this man, there ain't a supplement he doesn't love. He on NAD, honey. He on creatine. He on magnesium, sulfate, glycate, tibicate. He love a supplement. They said this dude, he wakes up every morning. He does that smoothie. He puts like 100 different concoctions in it. He loves his collagen for his face. They go, this man loves a product. So they admit the dude loves supplements. On top of that, they do say now I thought this was very fascinating too. They say that Kody would drink hot water with 5 lemons. 5 lemons. What are you, a lemonade stand? I mean, who the F puts 5 lemons in an 8-ounce glass of water? And they say that he was doing that nonstop. At restaurants, he would order a hot cup of water, 5 lemon, or more lemon wedges, like dozens of lemon wedges, and a knife or a fork to then squeeze all the lemon juice. And they said that he did this until it started ruining his teeth, and now he's backed off of the lemon water. Okay, this guy. Kody Brown is like a biohacker, guys. I'm here for it. I'm here for this. So they're not shocked that he's doing super on Special Forces because the man, he loves a supplement. Mykelti does admit that she and Robyn are not communicating a lot, but they haven't cut off from each other entirely. Mykelti says that she is confused about her relationship, as I mentioned, and is questioning, was she manipulated by Robyn? She's confused by how everyone feels about Robyn, but she feels so differently. Is she missing something? That was sort of the whole gist of her breakdown with Robyn. So, and again, people in the comments want them to trash Kody and Robyn so hard. I'm like, guys, this is their parents. Like, it's to go no contact with your parents. It's got to be so bad. It's such a difficult thing to do. It's so complicated. I'm like, yeah, they like Kody and Robyn. And actually, the other thing I thought was great and very honest of Tony and Mykelti, they said they don't give a shit what people think about their parents. Christine, Janelle, honey, whatever you writing about Robyn on the internet. But what bothers them is some of y'all go on their Patreon, go on their interviews and tell them how they should feel about their own parents. And that drives them bonkers. Like, they don't want us going, you should cut off Robyn. She a twat. They don't want to hear that. Okay. They're trying to figure out their own life. All right, let's go to the TikTok lines. Oh, hi, I got you live on TikTok. I usually just listen to the podcast. Kelly C, we love you. Someone who needs to give a shit more is Kody. She said 5 slices. Guaranteed he's on testosterone replacement, meaning Kody Brown. Well, they ask him, the hosts ask if he's on testosterone, and they don't say no. I think they basically say no, they don't think so. But I mean, look, if he was on testosterone, like he's not going to tell him probably everything that he's on. Very interesting. And we thought Tony moved specifically to Charlotte for his chess career. Great point. Great point. They did tell us this season that's why they moved to North Carolina. Not exactly the truth. Mykelti loves being a target. She seems desperate for love and validation. He wants a relationship. Kody wants just a relationship with her because she has a big mouth and wants his support. He wants her support. He only calls her because he's bored. He couldn't give 2 shits. Okay, there's some hot takes on Kody. There you have it. Okay, so that's where she stands with Robyn. And she's trying to navigate her feelings. But we also learn, why has Robyn changed so much on the show throughout the seasons? When Mykelti and Tony admit when she first joined the family in the first couple of seasons, Robyn was super chatty. She was happy, light, more go-lucky. A lot of people now, when Kody and Robyn say, oh, Robyn's shy and all that, people are like, what are you, girl? We watched you since 2010. You ain't shy. Well, Mykelti says it's deliberate now because Robyn reading the comments, she sees what people say about her. And Robyn feels at this point that she can't do right no matter what she does. If she was happy and embracing Kody and loving life, people would say, oh, you got what you wanted, bitch. And so at this point, she has dimmed her light. This is according to Mykelti and Tony. She's dimmed her light. She's become less quiet, or she's become quieter on the show, off the show. And they said even with the one-on-ones with Suki, because a lot of people were like, why isn't Robyn giving her opinion? That was deliberate. Robyn just feels like the less she says now, the better. How is this show? Is this show going to survive? I feel like, okay, like, is this show run its course? I don't know. Because, I mean, they don't seem like they're having a good time. They essentially describe Robyn as being beat down. Her light has dimmed because she's constantly attacked. Well, I'll say this. I've said it numerous times. You can send this to them. I want Kody and Robyn on the show. I want them to tell their story. We hear it from everybody else. Like, I would love to hear Robyn uncensored, unfiltered for like a 2-hour interview. She and Kody. Like, I want to hear it. I mean, they have lived over a decade of their life on TV. They're one of the longest running reality television shows on TV. That's not a game show. Obviously, Survivor's in season 2000 or whatever it's in. But as a reality show around a family, they're one of the longest running. I would have loved to have them on. So, Robyn, come on. You won't be criticized. We want to ask you real questions, girl, but you can come on my show. You can have a whole platform. Let it out, sister. So how fascinating. How fascinating. I liked them a lot. Did not listen to the Patreon. Y'all know I was a member of Tony and Mykelti's Patreon, but Patreons just irritate me so much. I hate waiting around a whole week for somebody to maybe put out a live stream. Drives me bonkers. You need to be super tough with the questions and not let Kody try to bully you. Well, first of all, I got to get him to agree to come on the show. Okay. And then you can give me the pep talk. First of all, let's book the interview. Robyn is just putting on an act like she's meek and sweet so that Kody can keep being the villain. Robyn was never the new toy for Robyn was the new toy for Kody, and now she has no other women to manipulate. Well, this is probably why Robyn doesn't want to do interviews, because I don't think, I mean, honestly, I say this all the time. Is there a scenario y'all